So, we just recently got this Samsung 360 camera along with a bunch of new gear. And one of the things that we'd like to do with this camera is create a short film for you guys. Problem is because this camera has two 180-degree lenses, it creates a full 360 experience, which means no matter what way you rotate, you can see everything going on, which means we can't have anything behind the scenes showing up, whether it's lighting, cameras, audio equipment, nothing. So what we have to do is figure out how to create a fluid short film feature that behind the scenes stuff hidden from the camera itself. So let's go into a little bit more detail of what we're looking at doing. So the question is there a future for 360-degree filmmaking? Well, possibly. It really depends on the industry and where it decides to go. If it decides to follow a more VR immersive experience, or if they want to stick with more traditional filmmaking where the director chooses the angles of the scenes. What's the benefit of 360-degree filmmaking? Well, for one, you get to become the director. If you have a 360-degree angle and you can see everything that's going on around you, you're going to be able to control exactly what you're looking at. So, for example, take the scene from Captain America Civil War when they're at the airport and you have Team Iron Man and Team Captain America facing off against each other. Now, how that scene is arranged is you have everything from Captain America and everything from Iron Man, and you see them facing off against each other. And the director picks and chooses what order you get to see the entire fight in. And theoretically, what's happening is when you're focused in on two characters fighting each other, in theory, the exact same fights are going on between everyone else, just in different locations and places. But imagine if you had a 360 view right in the center of the fight. Then you could turn around and look and see the entire fight going on at once. You would get to choose the angle in which you get to see it from. So, I've come up with two possible solutions to fixing the 360 rig and dealing with the behind the scenes aspects of filming a 360 short film. The first idea is to create a body rig in which all of the different behind the scenes equipment attaches to. Whoever wears this rig is going to have to be one tough mother trucker because it's going to be heavy. Think about it, you're going to end up having the camera most likely mounted to a helmet of some sort or some sort of head strap on the head in order to avoid getting the actual body of the person if we're doing it as a point of view 360 short film. Secondly, you have audio equipment, which means that somewhere in your body, there's going to be microphones mounted. Front, back, left, and right if you want a fully immersive 360 experience. The third thing is lighting. And this is going to be the most difficult part because it really depends on what you want to get across in the scene. It would almost be better to use natural lighting in the scene based off of where you're filming. The second possible solution is to build a remote rig, something remote controlled attached to an RC system of some sort. Same basic premise of having the camera, the audio, the lighting all mounted onto one unit, but this is a lot more expensive and most likely not in our budget anytime soon. So the next problem we have is content management. Now, what do I mean by content management? Well, when you think about it, when you're filming, you usually only have this small field of view, so you only have to worry about what's inside that small little section. But when you're using a 360 camera, you literally have everything around you to look at. So what you end up having to figure out is what content am I adding? What content do I have to avoid having in there, like the behind the scenes factor? Or what content will create a more livid experience so that everyone can catch something from any angle, whether it's the primary angle, the front, basically like the front facing view, or it's a rear facing angle. What's going on in front of you, behind you, to the left, and to the right. All of these things would have to be choreographed together, which would mean a lot more work for the director's side, as well as any choreographers, assistant directors, and the crew in general. The other question is how much of a crew do you need for a 360 video when you can't have a ton of behind the scenes stuff going on to begin with? So, in order to solve the second problem, you have to consider your location, where you're filming. One idea is to potentially film in a very large open location that maybe has a lot of hallways, so that content can enter and exit as you're going and as you're filming. Now, that gives us a third problem. Where does your director stand when directing all of this? Because obviously the director can't be in the actual environment that everything's being filmed in. So there's a possible solution for that. The first one is to have the director connected directly to the 360 camera wirelessly so that they can monitor everything that's going on in the scene while filming. The second possible solution is to have the scene with cameras hidden inside of it like a digital SLR or a couple action cams, that can be monitored from a separate room that's closed off from the scene, so the director can see what's going on in the scene. He may not necessarily be able to see the perspective of the 360 camera, but at least be able to monitor the content. Now the other problem is how do you trigger when the content should exit or leave? Let's say, for example, you have your actor, from your point of view perspective, entering a building where there's nobody in the building. It's going to be, let's say, a horror style film. They go in, they have absolutely nothing in the room. The room's empty, there's no noise, there's nothing. As they're beginning to enter into the building more, all of a sudden someone comes out of nowhere. How do you, as a director, trigger that going, hey, now it's time for you to enter in? How do you signal that? Well, there's a couple different options. Like I said, using a location with lots of rooms or hallways, you can always use a radio system, so that way when it's time for someone to come in, you can have assistant director with that person going, okay, you got the signal, go in, do your part. Unfortunately, this is not something we've experimented with, but we're looking forward to bringing you guys a 360 short film. Are we going to create only 360 short films? No, not at all. 1, way too much work. 2, not industry standard. 3, honestly, it's going to depend on the project what type of film we do. Overall, 360 short films is a fairly new experience still, and honestly 360 video capturing is still mostly used for a VR experience.
Ready? And action.
So, in order to solve the problem for the second problem, you have to consider your location. Having a large open location. I know, shut up. I'm gonna start over.
It's just like, wait a second, that you're being redundant there. Take 2.
Now, how that move. Now,